Hello and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Welcome to Livingston. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela.
And we just wanted to welcome you in today to another episode of Welcome to Livingston, where we talk about all things Livingston County. And usually we have, a lot of local businesses on here, guests on here to talk about their
local
businesses.
Business, and we really enjoy that. That's just a fun thing for us as well, too. Unfortunately, we ended up having to reschedule some of our guests, and so today we get to wing it. But it's the reason why. My mother passed unexpectedly about a week ago, and the funeral parlor and the service, the only time they could do it, of course, was right when we would be filming. So those guests will be coming in at later dates.
We'll look forward to talking to them. I mean, I always enjoy sitting down with the local businesses and hearing what they have to say about the county and about what they're doing and just the special opportunities a lot of them have. So
yeah, we've had some great episodes here and enjoyed that. But, in terms of today being a little bit more impromptu, I think that's okay. Especially, I think I'm going to make Don do more of the talking. It certainly has been a hard time for me and my family right now. But in the spirit of my mom, she definitely believed that you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you gotta still get up and go to work, and you gotta get back at it. So I think, just going through things is a good honor to her memory, and
yes,
here we are.
Yeah, and this is powered by the Putkela Group. We are realtors with Keller Williams. That is our main business, what we do. We love doing the podcast and love offering that value, but every once in a while we do take an episode where we talk about real estate and we talk about what's going on in real estate. So, I wanted to start off today with give a tiny bit of an update and then kind of talk about where we are with people going into the new year. So, the market is going really strong right now. We are closing out 2021 with good inventory, great values. Interest rates are doing really good. Coming into 2022, I think we are still going to have a really good market. I think that interest rates may tick up a little bit, but nothing drastic. And, keeping that in line with the fact that we are at such historical lows. And I always have that little bit of caveat. Every time lenders tell me the interest rates are going up, they go up a little bit and then they come right back down. So I'm not expecting anything drastic in the new year. I think we're going to be really strong in the spring and positive, which kind of brings us to what our topic is today.
Well, and that's true, but I also want to make sure to mention, and I'm more proud and excited to brag on him than he is for himself, in terms of what makes Don qualified, and the fact that he's actually on the board of directors for the Livingston County Association of Realtors, and he is their treasurer. So he definitely has a lot of great knowledge, and certainly is honored by his peers to have been elected by them to this board of directors. And how many members are on LCAR?
Oh gosh, we're a little over 800 members right now.
Yeah.
So it's a great organization. It's growing. We represent Livingston County, and just really being able to advocate for our realtors and provide education, provide support. Our affiliates are amazing. So, give a shout out to them for all the great work and all the great support that they give us. We just did Realtor Ring Day.
Yeah.
That
was
about
nice.
a week and a half, 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
So
fun to have our kids there with us. And so Realtor Ring Day, of course, is a volunteer. But being on the board, that's a volunteer position as well. And you certainly spend time and effort, and I'm proud of that you do that.
Well, yeah, and you're on a couple committees as well. So I
am. But
so we're both involved.
And being involved in the community, in the county, however it is you are. I've met so many great people, and whether they're involved with their church or there's just so many wonderful organizations, and it's a wonderful community that however you can give back. Especially this time of year, look to next year. How can you give back? So, but
yes.
In terms of this episode, what were you thinking we could
do?
Well,
what I was wanting to talk about is here we are coming into the end of the year. And a lot of people, one of the biggest questions I get is, do I sell now or do I sell in the spring? Do I buy a house now or should I wait till next year and see what the market is like? And, the first thing I always say to them is that depends on your circumstances, that you need to sit down and look at where you're at and look at where you're going to make sure that it's the right time for you. that while the market may change, we adapt to the market and we're able to position you in such a way that you're going to be in a strong footing either way. But that being said, where we're at right now, a lot of people are saying, hey, I might want to wait till the spring. So if you are slowing down for the holidays, you're going into winter and you're waiting for the spring, either to buy or sell, what are those things that you should be doing right now? And I think that that's an important conversation to have. So kind of where I wanted to start it out with is if you are in a house right now and you are saying, you know what, come spring, I want to list. What are those first steps that you're looking at?
Right. Because in terms of the transaction, the more you can plan, the more smoothly it'll go. You know, having a good realtor there definitely helps. But there's things that you can do. And in terms of thinking through, what would be the first thing?
Well, the first thing you should really do is you need to sit down with an agent. Sit down with a realtor that can walk you through the process, that can connect you with the people that you need to be connected with, but also walk through your house and say, you know, if you wanted to list your house in, 10 weeks, it's a different conversation than I want to list my house next week. It's, there's a lot of things, or next year, there's a lot of things that you can do. And getting connected with a local lender is important as well. I think that pre-approval.
If you're buying, if
you're buying,
and if you need a mortgage,
If you need a mortgage, right.
Because
but looking at your
people,
finances.
Sitting on a lot of equity too.
Right. Yeah. Well, finding out what that equity number is almost the first step, isn't it?
That's true. Because then that can help you with your financial decisions of knowing what that looks like.
Right, because I've sat down with people where we get to that point where I tell them what the house is worth and I ask them what they owe, and they're shocked by the amount of equity that they have sitting in the home. And then that changes the entire conversation for the house that they're going to be going into, and the conversation for the lender, because when I talk to a lender, the first thing that they ask me is, well, what's the house worth right now? What do they owe? What kind of equity, what kind of number are we working with towards a down payment?
How much are they going to take with them? I do feel like people get hung up on how much is their house worth? What's that top price tag? But really, the number that matters is how much are they going to walk away at closing, right? Because that's more relevant to their life and what they're going to do than how much the house sold for.
Right. So I would say that first step is sitting down with an agent. Potentially sitting down with a couple agents if you're the type of person that wants to, hear those different points of view.
Because different agents do things differently. There is.
Well, no house is the same. No agent is the same.
That's true.
No lender is the same.
Right.
The number one thing that you have is, I always say, you need to be comfortable in the process. This doesn't have to be a stressful process, and you need people that you can trust, and you need people that you feel comfortable with, that have your best interests at heart, and not only that they're on 100% the same page with you. There should be no surprise in the transaction, and there should also be at no point where, priorities change, right?
Right.
So while you're going through the process, if those priorities change, everyone that's involved in the process with you needs to understand that those priorities changed. So step number one, sit down, find out what your house may be worth today, or to your point, what kind of equity you're sitting on today and what you may be walking away with. And then having that conversation of, I had the conversation early enough that, are there things I can do to change that number?
Right.
To change the amount I'm walking away with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things during the past year and a half that I've really learned is it's never too early to call contractors.
This is true.
Okay.
Oh, they book out so far.
Right. So if I'm walking through a house and they're talking about, I love this fireplace, but I'm not able to use it right now because the flue needs to be cleaned, or this isn't working right now, and it's something that's easy to fix. Well, why don't we make that phone call now and get on the schedule? You can speak to this for us. I had to book our fireplace cleaning 3.5 months out.
Right.
Right. And then that had to get canceled and rescheduled. So no
Yeah.
fireplace
Oh my
for
goodness.
Christmas.
Yeah. Oh goodness. What can you do? But to that point, it was always, tough sometimes booking contractors, but with the pandemic, I don't know if, more people are using contractors, there's fewer out there, but give yourself that time because, people aren't going to be able to just show up the next week or 2 weeks. It's,
Right.
it's a good couple weeks, couple months.
Yeah. But I always say when you're doing home renovations, you're doing them for yourself. You're not doing them for listing the property or to move out of the property.
Right.
Now, that being said, there are cases where, carpet needs to be replaced or paint, very much so. We have a wonderful painter. He books out.
Shout out to Ryan. Ryan is fantastic. I give him
Yes.
to everybody I can because he's so good.
But he's so good and he's busy.
Yes.
So we just had someone recently that called up and he was 7-8 weeks before he could get in.
Yep.
So keeping those things in mind as you're going to look towards the spring, I think is extremely important. So, you have talking to the realtor, you have talking to the lender, finding out what programs or finding out what loans are available to you is a good step. And I know I'm talking about both of them interchangeably,
right.
But I have found, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I think that's because to us, what's really important is that person on the other side of the table there has a plan, because it's not about just selling your house. Oh, hey, yeah, I can sell your house, but boy, I'm not going to do that if you don't have a plan yet. Where are you going to go? Sometimes it's buying another house at the same time. Other times it's moving in with family or even getting an apartment till they decide are they going to build? Are they going to move out of state? Or, there's so many options out there, but just up and selling the house is not one of them. Know where you're going before you ever put a sign out. That's such a huge
100%, 100%. And understanding where your stress levels are.
Right.
Some people, their stress level is, I need to find the house that I'm going to first.
Right.
Right. Some people's stress levels are, I'm not happy in the situation I'm in. Unfortunately, I don't like my neighbors, or I don't like my neighborhood, or my work. Too much house for them.
Yeah.
Or like clients, my commute is now way too far.
Right.
Right. So then that's their stress level, and it changes the conversation because it's more about where they want to go and what they need, right? So if we're looking at that in that aspect, that's where that initial conversation, that's where that sit down with a homeowner or a buyer that is in an apartment now or living with their parents or they're looking to buy a home. Right. Having that conversation is so important because that's where me and you, we sit down with them and we put the plan in place and we say, okay, Z is, you get the keys to your house. Mm-hmm. We're at A right now. what are all the steps in between to make sure that you understand the roadmap?
Right. Because by having that knowledge, that really helps take care of that stress level, because it can be stressful, but when you know what's coming, right? That's huge, because it is a process, but it can be a fun one sometimes. It can be interesting. Try to do what you can to understand it, because then that will help prevent stress.
Right. And one of the things, I know we're going to have a lender on with us at some point, I think, but one of the things I want to make sure people understand is sitting down with a lender and going through that pre-approval process early is important.
Yeah.
And don't think that, oh my gosh, they're going to pull my credit and now my credit's going to go down. Okay. Even if they pull it multiple times, it'll go down maybe 1 point. But
and we'll have a lender on to precisely speak to that. Yes. That's something that's what has been our understanding.
Right, but they can put you. What I'm saying is they can put you in a stronger footing as well.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, that they have the same process that we have of let's find out what we're working it with and how do we make your situation better, because it's all about making the best situation that we can with everything. So to speak to that point, when you're looking at, let's say you're looking at listing in the spring, it's walking through the house room by room and figuring out what needs to be done with the home And at this point, when we're talking 8-10 weeks out, I'm not talking as much about decluttering. Decluttering is an important part of it, and it's a very important part of it. But sometimes I'm speaking to the larger things of, hey, this can be done. This can be done. This is your, honey-do list of items that can be taken care of. Because when you're proactive and you're starting early, like let's say right now we are mid-December, right?
Right.
I can see the grass right now. I can see the lawn. I can see if there's potential issues out there that we need to schedule for in the spring that come the first, second week of January when there's 3-4 inches of snow on it. Now I can't see those issues. And if I can see those and we can talk about those, I can give you a good name of a landscaper to say, hey, either take care of it yourself or
let's get somebody in here.
Let's get somebody in there
and
to
let's
take
get
care
on
of
their
that
schedule, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to wait to schedule a landscaper. Wait until, February, March, April, because it'll be the same thing there too.
Right. But so to that step, let's say we have that conversation. We're like, okay, these are the items you need to take care of. These are the things you're going to do. Now we can talk in the aspect of a buyer, either for someone that's selling a house and buying or someone that's buying by themselves, meaning they're not selling something. Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Right.
Right.
Because that's a process too.
Right. What neighborhood do you want to be in? What town do you want?
Yeah, what city?
What city?
Town, city, and then from there, neighborhood or neighborhoods. Or do you want a condo? Do you want a house? In terms
what are your must-haves?
Right.
Yep. And I think that starting that process early helps as well. Do not be afraid to say to your realtor, hey, I want you to send me a list of houses. And if you're not pre-approved yet, that's okay, because you're just starting that process and you're working together to get to the same goal. We have multiple people that we're working with long-term where we're sending them things. And if something tickles their fancy, well, now it's time to go out and look at something. Or a few people that we have on lists that are planning to move in the spring, where they're trying to get a scope of the market and they're trying to figure out, this is what I like in the house and these are the neighborhoods that I like. And sometimes it takes going out to look at a few homes to realize what you like. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's part of the process as well, where we can have a conversation where I'm going to start your net really wide, and then we're going to narrow your net down to exactly what you want. And
it's okay if you don't know what you want, or through the process, you're still not sure. There's plenty of people that go through and say, hey, I know what I don't want. I don't want to live right on top of my neighbors. I don't want this. I don't want a dirt road.
Right. Everyone wants 2 acres and a pole barn.
Yeah. On a ranch.
Yes.
Yeah. On a paved road.
Right.
So,
But no, that is a process, and it's okay that that's a process. And I think that that's part of the fun of the process. I love going out to look at homes. I love having those conversations with our clients where we're talking about the aspects of the home. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I need to have. This is what I want in my next home. And then having that occurrence where the house that they decided that they loved didn't have any of those things.
Right. Oh, that happens. That totally does. But the neat part is even though we joke about that, that the whole ranch thing is what everybody wants, by that same token, everybody's different. There's certain things, and that was the hardest part for me as a realtor, is not putting my feelings on that. Like, oh no, that's to this, to that, to that. Like, no, everybody's different. And to kind of pay attention to what is it that they're passionate about, and what's going to make them happy in that new house, because some people aren't as vocal as they could be. But when you spot that and you see where they say, hey, where are we going to put the Christmas tree?
Well, I look for body language.
Yeah.
I look for clues as we're walking through a house. A client may not tell me that the kitchen is really important to them, but if we've gone through 5 houses and the first room that they walk into is the kitchen in every one of them, and they spend time in there, then I realize that the kitchen, even on a subconscious level, is important to them. Same thing with, master bedrooms or bathrooms, or the person, if I have a client that they decide to walk around the outside of the house every time before they walk through the front door, the yard is one of the most important things to them. And then identifying that means that every once in a while I get to make the phone call up to them and say, hey, this is a house that wasn't on your list, a house that I didn't send you, but I found for you. And now I want to take you out to it because I've spent that time learning about the client and what it is that they want in a house. So it becomes a relationship where you're looking at it from a different aspect with every single person.
Yeah. Well, that's why we get to be friends with I think just about everybody, and why we're doing these client appreciation events, because maybe that's one of the harder parts for me is we spend time with these people and get to know them and become friends with them, and then we don't get to see them. Like after it's all done, I kind of, I get sad after the closing sometimes, but having those events are fun because we do get to know them and we do become friends with them, and just such fabulous, fabulous people.
Yes, every single one of them. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to talk to them and to see where they're at and see where they're going, and then
it comes alive. Some of them, they're young and they bring babies into the world and to this house, and just all these visions, as they walk through of, hey, where will we put the crib? Or
so I would say to all those people out there that are looking to move,
right, or
they're looking to buy, research those neighborhoods, drive around, park the car and take a walk. I tell people all the time, if you're looking to move to Brighton, or you're looking to move to Howell or Fowlerville and you don't live in that area,
Heartland, Pinckney,
right, go park the car downtown, take a walk, go out to dinner. You'll realize whether you feel comfortable there, whether it's a community for you. Some people like the hustle and bustle, so they're like, I want to move down to Ann Arbor, or I want to move, I love living in Novi, or I love living in Canton, because they want that high density, right? Mm-hmm. Other people say, I don't want that anymore. I want, a small town feel, and then there's a difference between the small town feel of Brighton or Howell or Heartland or Fenton. I mean, everyone has its unique aspect, right?
Absolutely.
So researching those neighborhoods, figuring out, do I want a sidewalk or not? Do I want a paved road or not? When I sit down and I talk with new clients, one of the first things I ask them is, are you okay on well and septic? And if they say, what's well and septic?
A lot of them do. A lot of people don't know this.
Then there's an education process, right? Mm-hmm. Are you okay with propane? You told me you wanted 5 acres and a pole barn and on a dirt road, but then you told me that you don't want propane. Well, now we've narrowed down what you can look at, right? Mm-hmm. So being knowledgeable about that and asking those questions and figuring those things out is all part of the process.
Absolutely. And I think what people have wanted in houses have changed too. As they've spent more time within the house, they realize maybe they want room for entertaining or a home office if they're working from home.
Right, or the change in the open floor plan concept, right?
Oh, that's been a huge reversal. It used to be where everybody wanted that open concept.
Right, but that means you can hear everybody all the time.
Right. So if you have kids and you have things, then there's really no place to go.
But the home office is a big one, because I've talked to some people and such that they weren't building home offices on the main floor for a long time.
Yeah.
It just wasn't part of the concept. So now they have a card table in their dining room, or they're in the corner of a room and such. So it changes what they want. So one of the things I wanted to get back to, though, is, when is spring?
Well, in real estate, I'll tell you, spring is Valentine's Day.
I agree with you. And a lot of people don't realize that aspect of it. So if we're looking at a timeline on things, remember, it takes 30 days on average, 30 to 40 days between when you have an offer accepted and when you get the keys to the house.
Some lenders are doing these things in 2.5, 3 weeks even.
Well, yeah, no, I've seen like 17 days.
But I think that 30 days, if you figure 30 days from when you're accepting an offer to when you close.
Right. So that means if you are at February 14th, you're not getting your keys until March 14th, March 15th.
Right.
And now you're in the heat of spring starting out there.
Well, because you may be giving that seller some occupancy. Maybe you don't get in at closing. Maybe you've given them 2 weeks, maybe you've given them a month, because especially for how competitive things have been, these sellers have kind of been able to write their own ticket, 30 free days, 60 free days, or paid, but in which case then you aren't moving until April or May, right? Whereas some of the people that contact us and say, all right, to them spring is May, and so they're thinking about listing in May. Well, they're not going to be able to, be done till potentially July then.
Right. And again, that's where part of the process is start off early, talk to someone early, and figure out to put a plan in place on what's your dates. What are your key times on when you want to move?
When do you want to be, where do you want to be, and when do you want to be there?
Right. And then there's an aspect that changes that of, let's say that you have kids and your kids are in school.
Very
right.
true.
So you're wanting to back that date out based on what it is you want. And then one of the important things on why you need to talk to a lender is, are you going to be contingent or not? Right.
That's
so
huge.
That changes the entire conversation. Sometimes you need to sell your house prior to being able to close on the next house. And a good real estate agent will sit down with you and explain that process and see where your comfort level is. And like what me and you do is we get their house 99% ready to sell, right? We get everything we can done. We got the pictures and everything done, but we don't put your house on the market. We're going to go out and we're going to look at homes and we're going to find a home for you. And most of the time we're going to get that new home under contract and then list your house within 24 hours back to back. So you're lining those up seamlessly and taking the stress away.
Yeah.
I've talked to other agents where they'll say, I'm looking at 20 homes this weekend because my client just got their house pending and now they need to have a house in 35 days.
Right. They're under the gun. But then we have had clients that were saying, hey, I'm not as picky about where I'm going. I'm more stressed out about what if my house doesn't sell. So let's sell my house first. And then let's get serious about looking for something. And when that happens, we make sure as we present offers that occupancy is a huge part of it. We're not going to offer immediate occupancy. We're going to make sure that they have those extra days. So that way they're able to
taking the stress away.
Yeah. Because with each person, it's a different way to do that.
Exactly. So let me look at my notes here. I know there was a couple other things I wanted to key in on. I don't know. We've kind of hit on quite a few of them here. I think it's just a process. I think that one of the things I love about working with our buyers and our sellers, and especially our sellers that are also buyers.
Right. We do a lot of that.
Yes. But that every single one of them is unique.
Mm-hmm.
You have a long-term relationship with those people that are buyers and sellers because it's a lot of conversations and there's a lot of aspects to go through. And one of the things I always try to remember is while I am extremely knowledgeable about the process, never pretend that they are knowledgeable about the process. Make sure that you're letting them know what's happening.
Right.
So that they're not surprised, so that you're able to say, remember, we talked about this, or here's the next step of the process, so that they know, 2 + 2 = 4. A goes to B goes to C, because we don't want to.
We don't believe in surprises.
Well, we say that a lot, but also it's not so much for me sometimes that they don't believe in surprises. I don't believe in stress.
Yeah, maybe that's it. let us take that for you.
Right. I've said to clients before, don't worry about that. That's my job to worry about that. Right. I worry about it so that you don't have to.
Because you pay a professional. Even those that don't use us, that's fine. You pay this professional to take that on, and that's their job. Right.
And remember, regardless of the agent you're using, your agent should know about the community that you're helping them in. Right. So, one of the things I pride ourselves in is that we're very knowledgeable about the communities that we work in. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of resources out there. Right. We have a lot of people that we work with, contractors and such, to be able to help you through the process. That if you are having an issue with your furnace, we have someone that we can help you talk to about it. One last thing I wanted to get back on is every once in a while, depending on your house, a pre-inspection might be something that's worth doing.
Yeah. But it's important to be careful of that.
Yes.
Because if there is an issue, you absolutely need to disclose.
100%. You always are 100% truthful, and you're disclosing anything that you have knowledge about in the house.
Right.
That being said, sometimes there's issues that need to be taken care of beforehand. If I'm sitting down with someone and they're telling me that, hey, I have this issue in the house, and I won't even name an issue, but it's this repair that I've been meaning to do, but I just never get around to it. So every time it happens, I have this way that I've rigged it that it's not a problem anymore. Okay, it's time to call a contractor. Yeah. I am not going to have that conversation with another agent to say, hey, this may happen, but don't worry about it. They figured out how to, get by. Yeah. We're taking care of those issues.
Absolutely. That's so important.
It is because everyone, we all take pride in our homes, right?
Right.
And I feel that when you're selling your home, you want to leave it in the best possible condition, which leads to when you're handing over those keys, clean the house.
Yeah, absolutely. Broom swept. And, sometimes we've had sellers hire cleaners, but certainly they've taken good care of it.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I've been in houses where, we're walking through the house and I'm sitting there saying, oh my gosh, this house is amazing. This house is perfect. I could list this house tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then the person is taking such pride in the house. They're like, but I want to do A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, I love working with people like that because they take such pride in ownership. Right. And then at the same time, they're like, but I want to leave it perfect for the next person.
Yeah.
Because that, for a lot of people, that home is such an integral part of their lives.
Right.
And we take great pride in remembering that for them and for, helping them through that process.
Reminds me of our Cub Scout days and how we taught those kids that, you leave someplace better than when you started. Right?
100%.
Better than when you got there.
Yep.
So, and I know every episode I always enjoy asking people what their favorite part of Livingston County is. And it's just us. But since my mom has passed on, I can at least share that, I think she would have said that she loved all the people that she met that were our friends and neighbors. And but she also loved Gus's. Gus's was her favorite, the apple orchard salad, the breadsticks, the
Greek salad as well.
The Greeks, yeah. This is true, lest I forget, she was part Greek. And so.
Well, I love in the last year and a half that your dad would call and he would say, hey, we're coming out to Howell. We're coming out to Brighton. We're going to stop by to see you. Well, why are you coming out here? Well, they're coming out specifically to pick up Gus's.
Gus's, yeah, not us.
They're taking a half-hour drive just to get a salad and breadsticks.
Yeah.
And maybe see us while they're here.
Right. But they love, they loved living in town. I kept trying to get them to move out here, and but they have, friends and family there and whatnot. But I think, on some level they can be honorary.
Well, I think Livingston County grew on them quite a bit. I think I said in our first episode that when we decided to move out here, they said, where are you moving to?
Right.
But then in the end, they loved coming out here.
I remember her saying that it's really wonderful out here.
Yes, it is.
So those are special memories, and, family matters so much, and especially now at the holidays, and, you just squeeze your loved ones and appreciate them. And I know this can be a very stressful time of year for everyone, but, I'd encourage you to just stop and take a moment and just love the ones you're with and really just appreciate them.
Well, especially since, you never know when, but at the same time, last year, a lot of people didn't spend the holidays with their family. And this year they are. And, we just talked about it with a guest, last week, where we were talking about sometimes you just have to pause and you have to look at it from their point of view. And you have to, with joy.
Joy's episode. It was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Make sure you listen to it.
But you have to appreciate family for what it is. And you have to take those moments to just pull them in.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Because, in a flash, it may not be there and you don't realize it. And I'm so grateful that we had Thanksgiving together, all together as a family. So those memories are special.
Yep. And enjoy your homes. And the best season of when your home looks best.
Yeah.
So if you have the most beautiful flowers ever, take those pictures in the spring. If you have a gorgeous house that looks best when there's snow everywhere and it is a winter wonderland in a snow globe.
Yeah.
Take some pictures of that. You know, if you have a pond out back, you know when the moss isn't on it and it's the best time. Our clients are our best resource, and what time of day should those pictures be taken
Right.
at? What's going on? We're there to help them, but they're there to help us as well. So
we're the expert about real estate, but they're the expert about their own house.
yes, yeah, and it's a relationship. It's we come together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's nice.
I don't think I have anything else to add. You?
I think I'm pretty good, but you know, we're working on the website. You know, hopefully in another month or two here, we'll have that all on up. But we love that you're listening, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate everyone in our life that has come out. There's been people from outside of Livingston County, but a lot of people within Livingston County. A lot of our professional companies that we work with and partner with, the Speakeasy that we do the podcast here. You know, they were quick on the scene with flowers that were gorgeous, and First American Title, our title company. Everybody just cares so much, and that is so appreciated. That I never realized how many people go through these things at the holidays, and that things happen, and be there for those around you. That would be my advice. But check us out. Listen to our podcast.
Yeah,
subscribe.
Subscribe it. Check us out on every place: Apple, Spotify, Google. Just Google it. We would love you to start listening to our episode. Check out some of the past ones. And if you have something you want us to talk about, or you are a local business,
absolutely,
please reach out to us. We would love to have you on to talk about what you do, talk about Livingston County, and just be able to promote your business. So thank you so much for listening today, and welcome to Livingston.